Pow wow, yo, yippee, yay, guys. Pow number 26, and I'm super excited to be with you guys today. As always, we'll dig dive into the love of the community, then talk about what is happening on SwissBorg network and really give a great introduction of the mem coins, how to figure out where there's mem coins that have value, and really to dig dive really into understanding of this culture, of this tokenization, and how SwissBorg is offering a great way to get into, of course, these mem tokens. As you know, my name is Cyrus Fazel. I'm the proud founder and CEO of SwissBorg, always here to serve you. Question of the week before getting into the mem tokens, talking about what is going to happen with SwissBorg when it's going to have the MiCA licenses. So as you guys know, we've been a licensed company for a long time and out of Estonia and out of France. And the idea is that going forward, we just are applying for the MiCA license that enable finally SwissBorg to be passportable in multiple different European countries, such as France, as in Estonia, as we already had, but then as well in Germany, Austria, I was going to say UK, but no, UK doesn't work. Sweden, Scandinavia, and in general, Italy and many other places. And what is the impact for the users? There is definitely some new set of rules that are going to happen and like some tests that maybe some users are going to have to go through. Talking about stable coins, a lot of people want to know what's going to happen with stable coins. So there's the easy camp that we know is going to happen, and then there's the more tricky gray camp that we're not 100% sure. So USDC seems to be in that easy camp, the white camp, right? USDC seems to be in that gray camp that looks very difficult to probably be able to use it within the SwissBorg app. For example, that's the reason we took off EURT. So USDC, we'll try to figure out if we'll go one box or the other one. For every decentralized stablecoins that are multicultural, like such as the DAI, that's something that no one really does know. So it's hard to see what it's going to be. But long story short, this process is going to happen over time, of course. So the application license are just being done as we speak. We have until the end of the year to get the licenses, and then starting next year, it has to be enforced, all the different new ways of servicing essentially the SwissBorg users. The good thing is that SwissBorg has always been on, in front of this, and we've been really able to, do the best on KYC and AML, different process for risk operations whatsoever. So it won't be such a big difference for most users, but there'll still be some changes. And this has to go as well for the DEX, the sexes that we aggregate as well. So there is some changes that are going to be, but probably most users will not have an impact, which is great. And the second thing, which is fantastic, was for SwissBorg, is that we'll be able to really market in all these European countries, like Netherlands. Again, that's a great country, for example, that we have a community, but we've been very shy so far because we never wanted to have any issue in terms of regulation. But now going forward with MiCA, when we get the license, then you'll be able to passport all these different services and markets in a very good way, a direct way, with all our beautiful community members that are spread out into Europe. Market update quickly. So guys, things are not looking great. It's been essentially this ascending channel, 72,000 to 59,000. The most important is that we should be across the moving average, the 200-day moving average. That shows that we're in a bull market. If we go lower than 200-day moving market, then it could be tricky. I mean, it could still go underneath that 70,000 for a few trading days, but it really has to bounce back. It should never go under that, because is a very strong support. And right now, the support, we are definitely flirting with 60,000. This is pretty much where we're at. What is interesting though is that as Ethereum ETF is going to be approved probably early September or maybe during the summer, Ethereum is doing quite well. It's definitely losing less momentum than the other tokens, and we see definitely the alt season that's never started yet as doing right now very difficultly. It's not performing well at all, on the opposite. And what is really important for the Borg token is how to get more and more users, obviously, to adopt this through the SwissBorg obviously app, and there's all the premiums, and we know that, and the burger rank that is growing. So there's a lot of strong incentives to hold the Borg token within the app, and we've seen that very often that the Borg has a very strong correlation with the number of users that we actually essentially on board, because people usually buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Borg is very common, or in the thematics, they buy these thematics and they buy the Borg. So a lot of people that are using SwissBorg as an app as actually buying the Borg. So we haven't had a lot of new users, and that's one of the reason that we haven't. That's one of the reasons that we haven't yet been able to really grow, I would say, in terms of price action, but as well the fact that we've just now have put on-chain utilities, and like for example with the Borger versus WeatherXM, is just a new way to bring a lot of on-chain activity. I think this is something that's fundamentally important for you guys to listen is. Right now, when we're listing some tokens that are on dexes through Solana, we are able to put Borg versus that token, and that creates a very strong buy pressure whenever there's volume that's buying this token, because you're buying Borg before buying essentially the WeatherXM. So this is a great way to bring volume, and volume is a great way to have a healthy token that will have a great price behind. And then talking about markets, not everyone is in the red. Funny enough, there is some good tokens that perform well. Shadow is one we already talked about. Sometimes Avi's done well, but there's Lido as well. So let's say the few Ethereum guys that are doing quite well, and good for them. For those who don't know what Shadow is, again, Shadow I think so is something that's very interesting. It's really a utility token for the Shadow Deepin ecosystem. Obviously, Deepin has been something that has been really big. The great thing that Shadow is as well something that's on Solana, which is really, really good. And overall, we already discovered and talked about Shadow in the past. I think so it's a great token to look into. Okay, memes and meme coins. I know some of you people, Borgers, love this topic. Some people hate it. This is the next few minutes is going to be talking about how to figure out, trying to understand the meme culture, how to figure out how you get these great tokens that will have, big price actions. And before talking about that, meme tokens have the highest risk. There's millions that have been created this year through Solana and Base and other different ecosystems. Probably the next is going to be on Ton. A lot of these tokens will go to zero, but the very few will really go through something crazy. Me personally, I bought in the second cycle Dodge, and it went crazy. Forgot about it. Then I sold it in the last cycle. And the last cycle, I didn't really participate in too much into memes for whatever reason. I know everyone was quite negative about it, and I just missed it. I did do Bonk. I did do Pepe last year, which is a great one. Plus even now plus 20x right now. Which is great from the investment. And, a few weeks ago it was way better than that. I've done very well with Bonk. And then the other ones, Dog with Hat, okay-ish, and few others that did okay. And some, of course, Mother did great. Now it's not doing too great anymore, but I think so all the coins are there, right? So meme coins is definitely a huge, within the asset class of crypto, is really one that makes a lot of sense. And let's figure this out why. You've seen this 1,000 times, right? It's this meme that people always play around with it. An internet meme is just, you take any action, what it is. And in this case is, my diet, the girlfriend and the boy is looking at chicken nuggets, or it could be the girl is, I don't know, this crypto exchange, and SwissBorg is the red girl, and you're the user, right? So there's a lot of different ways to do it, and people really love it because you could take one meme and then play it in so many different ways, right? If you look at this current meme, it's when you're in a random fish in the ocean, right? And you could play this around. You could have the recent one is very sexual. That girl is what the best thing, and she does that thing, and she spits whatever. There's a lot of different ways that people love this meme culture, and it really comes from the Reddit. It comes from Twitter, and it's just something that people love to play. And I really think it is funny because sometimes a meme means a lot. And when you look at an internet meme, what it really means is ain't nobody got time for that. That escalated quickly. That was said. And I think so in a very short amount of time of just a picture, you could capture a huge amount of emotions. And people just love it. It's a bit like a comic book within just 1 or 2 pictures, or with a GIF. It could have a very strong point of us revealing a lot of different emotions within just a picture and a text on top of it. And it has, essentially, when memes are powerful, you start using it very often. And there's been some memes that have been playing very well. The first one obviously is always the best because it was Dodge, and Dodge, the point of Dodge was to be fun, right? But then there was a Shiba that essentially was giving a baseball bat to another, essentially another Shiba, and that became Bonk, and that's the story behind Bonk. Pepe, it's the meme that everyone has been talking about and playing with it in the last 2 cycles, and then Pepe became a token, right? Dog with hat is just one that makes fun, and like, why not? We could make a dog with a hat. The fundamentals behind that tokens is that it has a hat, right? So in a way, what you want to do with these coins is very often, it's a kind of a satire, that you try to make fun of something, and that something actually brings some value to it. It has this bit like a Molière approach, or another approach from back in the days, where you can make fun of the king by using a joker, and then you tokenize this joker. And then this is really what it is. And the reason why it works is because it's trying to do the opposite. It's trying to show you that you should not invest, you should not come in, and therefore people like, well, I have to come in, right? Very often we try to sell, and SwissBorg is a good one, that we try to bring so much utility to the token and this and that, and bring all these fundamental values to that, and people who are intellectual will obviously, say, oh, that's a great idea. That's that work. I like this narrative. But a lot of people don't figure that that's the most important. A lot of people spend so much time and bring so much value into useless things. And useless things, this is how you tokenize it. And, the GameStop had something a little bit different, I would say, from what I've seen from the rest, which is like, we care for something, and let's show that we as fishes, small fishes, could be bigger than the sharks. And this is a kind of new way, a new era of showing to finance hedge funds gurus and all these big guys that if you gather together, you could create this revolutionary, crazy thing that could become huge. And for sure, Shiba is really one that, has talked to everyone, and it's a great story because people created this token, didn't have any really big value, but it was fun. And the community that was behind it was like, well, this is a great way to anyone to participate in the future of fun. And how do you tokenize this fun? And I think so this is something that's very important, is how do you tokenize anything? How do you able to bring something that is crazy and then bring value to it? So, what is very important here, I think so, is to understand what is value. And value could be perceived so different ways. And I think this is something that's very important. We give value to the dollar as we give value to the yen and to the Swiss franc and to other different, or to gold, or to this house, or to Spain. And usually it has a lot of different aspects to it. And the most logical one is that there is some economic sense to it. There's a buying, a bid and ask usually that does give value to these things. There's a functional that could be used essentially where you are able to exchange maybe gold versus to something else, or this watch to some other thing. There's a social aspect of it. The social aspect really comes in general from the community that creates this narrative around it, right? The emotional part is, as well as does it come from a long history, and therefore does it make sense, or on the opposite, do I want to really be part of this community, and therefore I'm going to give a lot of value to it? And that's very important. And psychological is the same thing that goes with that. So this is something that's very important, and a lot of time I didn't give so much values to NFTs in the last. I never bought a Bored Ape, for example, and I still don't think that the value behind a Bored Ape was anywhere close to where the money was. I just thought it was a great way for a lot of people to bring and show value, but I always thought that the prices that were sold was just stupid, and I still feel today it's stupid. But that doesn't mean my perception is the right one. The perception of the market is always the right one. And this is something that's very important. Is again, I'm not part of the Bored Ape community. I never was bullish about it, and I never pushed into it. But that doesn't mean that it didn't have any value, and it had a lot of value. And it probably would have been a great investment if you got in 2020 or 2021, and you got out before 2022. But and it still has a strong value. But you know, Animoca and other different people say this is the Renoir of today, or the paintings, the most elite paintings of tomorrow, because this is history about blockchain, and this is the most valuable thing. I feel that, to be honest, NFTs were not there to capture value, but to be used in a way that was gamified, and that the value behind it was not necessarily a lot of money, but more memories and collectibles for me. And that's what I think. I don't buy paintings for the speculation part of it, or I buy it for the emotional part of it. And that's why I don't buy usually expensive things as artists, because you know, I know they're not going to be able to resell it. So the big thing about these meme tokens, to rephrase it, is the social value and the economic value, and how do you put those two together? And again, I think so a lot of these tokens that we're just going to talk about has a lot of value. But before that, let's talk clearly of what are the different ways to value these tokens, right? So the first thing is, what is the problem they're solving? What is the mission and the vision? Is there something to it? Pepe, what I loved was that he said right away, and I discovered this on CoinMarketCap, and it's like, okay, guys, there's a lot of love in dogs, but we need more than that. You know, dogs is a nice thing, but there's how many Shibas? It's a bit too much. It's time for the frog. So I really thought that this was a very beautiful way to bring their mission. Is like, okay, there's a lot of value in dogs, and tokenizing dogs and Shibas, and the old people that love dogs will probably love to have coins that represent dogs. No doubt about that. There's probably something else. And the second thing, it was the popularity, is that the popularity behind it, well, it was an amazing thing, because it was finally taking the meme, one of the biggest meme of essentially Web3. We have in the office stickers of everywhere of Pepe, and this was way before essentially the meme coin itself. So it took a very strong emblem of crypto, and it made it. So the popularity was a bit already there. The team, many of these tokens, you don't know the team behind it. But let's now talk about the Bonk team, or for example, the mother team behind is Stars. Bonk team is really Solana devs and community members that are really cool and all that. So people that are really into the Solana ecosystem, a lot of devs. So that's always a great thing to invest in, right? On the mother side, what I liked very much was just this rapper that was very popular, and not only her, but a lot of people from the Solana ecosystem recognized that she had a big thing to say to the world. And I think so this is something very important. Token economics. This is very, very tokenomics is really one of the most important, is to figure out where the tokens are going to be unlocked, who are they sold to. And when I talk about memes, if there's any private sale before, I don't touch them. I really don't touch them. I think so it doesn't sound good. So the fair launches for me, the right ones, I think this is the best ones for sure. I'm very happy that the teams, for example, could keep a huge portion, and Bonk is the case, because there's a lot of rewards for a lot of different things, and I think so that's super cool. But the pre-sales, usually I don't think so it's a very important one, and all the vesting that goes with that, not very important either, besides the one for the team. And the last but not least is to look at, the FDV, to start to know, like, what is the market cap, and to compare it, right? The highest market cap today is Dodge. It probably is at 18 billion or 20 billion, not too sure exactly. So it could go very high, these things, right? And usually what you want to participate is rather in the very early side, or if not, in when they get to like 50 million or 50, 80 million, because to get to there is really difficult, and to understand what's the roadmap to get listed on different sexes, and eventually to know what's the vision, because a lot of these great projects of meme tokens start with a fun thing, but such as Shiba or Flocky, then really go into building different apps that are really great, and video games and all that. So it's not just of having fun. It starts with a fun thing, but it evolves in a very interesting community way where they build amazing products. So SwissBorg Memecoin Thematic, you guys asked it, now we delivered. I think so. This is a great way to get exposure to the top, essentially, meme coins within the SwissBorg app. We looked for the main big ones, so the less risky ones in some sense. So they will probably cut a bit on the upside, but at least on the downside, these tokens will probably exist. I'm pretty sure will exist in this cycle, in the next cycle, and maybe probably in the next ones. So what you have is Dog with Hat, which was pushed really by the Solana ecosystem with Ansem, same person pushing, by the way, Mother. Dodge, the number 1 Shiba, as I said, they're doing L2s. They're doing so many cool stuff regarding essentially their own ecosystem. They have a sushi swap. Sorry, not sushi swap. They have a Shiba swap. They have a lot of different things. There's Pepe that we don't know yet what's happening there, to be honest, but it's still one of the best performing one for the last 2 years. Flocky, a lot of different video games, and Bonk has so many different ways to reward people in their different ecosystem. The Bonk boat. There's so many different things that Bonk is doing in order to bring Solana to the next level. And every people in Solana ecosystem just loves Bonk because they got large rewards and they build their wealth with it, and it did push a lot Solana's ecosystem. So last thing to consider is, if meme coins are not for you, it's fine. Like I understand, like you really should always invest into what you like, what you love, and what you understand, and what's the great thing behind it. The good thing I think is behind a meme coin thematic is you don't really need to care which one to pick. You'll probably have a good performance on the mid long term on these thematics, which is good. Obviously there's a lot of volatility that goes with these things. A lot of them drop suddenly, but these ones at least are the biggest ones that we believe have still great momentum. Weekly Borgen data, things are going okay-ish, but not great. A bit less than last week, drop of 10%. We're almost at 155,000. We should be there next week, and close to 52,000 premium. But only 171 upgrades, and new premium holders, which is not great. Usually it was 300 at least. And yeah, not great either. And the data, not too bad. I mean, the activity was quite good because people, obviously, volatility, well, got a little bit scared, I'm sure. But not new people really onboarding. Only 800 is still a bit small. Brazil's community index, Cassier score. It's actually much better than you probably thought. So 6.7, things are going a little bit better than last week on the activity, the borg holders as well, and invitations. But we could do much better for sure. Beautiful burgers in this very nice hot season. I hope you guys are enjoying the summer and that you're enjoying as well Europe Cup. Congratulations for the Switzerland team. Congratulations to the French team. Congratulations for Italians as well for making it yesterday and honking and not making me able to sleep, but that's okay. I got it. 98 minute was quite a hard one to believe that would happen. And I think so that's a good thing, is that hope is always there till their time. There's hope. Right now the markets are doing a lot of weird things, and you're probably not as confident as you were a month ago, but that's fine. It's just, that's what markets do to us. And you should just, be able to protect yourself, be able to invest in a smart way, be able to DCA, be able to invest into thematics, be able to cash out on when you need time to time, and be able to refer a lot of people, because I think so this is definitely a nice entry point for the rest of this cycle. And I still believe we're in a bull cycle, no doubt about that. As always, be healthy, be wealthy, love our boring equity. Take care, guys. Much love. Bye.
Thank you for watching our weekly Pow Wow episode. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to leave a like. And if you didn't, tune in next week anyway, so that you can figure out if it's better then. Bye.